Hi, and welcome back to my channel. This is part 5 of yet another inventory system, but wait. The last video was quite long. I'm hoping to keep this one a little bit shorter, and this will finish off our interactive system and our screen messaging system, hopefully. So, without any delay, let's get going. Let's get to it. So the first part we're going to be working on today is our player, so our character. I'm going to make a new function. I'm going to call it tracer. Doesn't need any inputs or outputs. Basically, this is going to send a line trace, or in fact, I'm going to use a sphere trace, and I'll explain why in a sec, from our camera out into the world at a given distance and see what we can hit. This is a first-person character, so we can do it straight off the camera. It's like the camera is at the face of the player, so it's at a fairly good position. If you're using third-person character and your camera was more than likely on the spring arm, you have to allow for the length of the spring arm in your calculations. So, and also make sure that it is not hitting you as a character, or else you could end up with other problems. Or you could add a point in front of the player, like a scene component, and you could use that as your starting point. But we're going to use the camera because we're doing third person. The first thing we do is, this one's quite a long in length, but it's not a very complicated function. So first of all, we're going to do is get player camera manager. Okay, that manages the cameras. And from there, we're going to get two nodes. We're going to get camera location and get camera rotation. Put up that just a little bit more. From the rotation, we want to get forward vector. We're only interested in forward vector. And we're going to make a variable. And we're going to call this, I like to call it scan distance, call it trace distance, whatever you prefer. And this is going to be of type float. Power that. And I found in testing, for me, 300 was ample, but if you want it further, play around with it, suit yourself. So we're going to come up with here. We're going to multiply this by our scan distance. If we just connect that up to it, it will allow us to convert that pin. Now we want to come up with here, and we want, in my case, we're going to use a sphere trace by channel, not a multi. I often click on that by mistake. Just sphere trace by channel. Looks like a big scary node, but it really isn't, but it does a lot of good work for us. So that's for start and end. Our start is here, which is where the camera's location is. The end is where we want it to finish. So we're going to come up with here, we're going to do a plus, we're going to add this vector to this vector. Remember, this is the forward vector, normally gives 0 to 1, or 1. Multiplied it by how long we want to look in the world, and that gives us our end. Why am I using a sphere trace instead of a line trace? I just find it more effective if you've got small items in the world that you want to interact with. What I prefer, as long as you don't make the sphere too big, the radius here too big, it's no big deal. When I find the radius of 10 is quite good. We're going to use our visibility trace channel. You can make your own if you want to. You can go ahead and do that. If somebody would like to see that, let me know. Okay, so on the flip side of this node, make sure you've got ignore self, just in case it hits you. We're not going to bother with a debug for now, but you can if you're not sure whether it's working. First of all, we're going to come off of here, and we're going to break the hit result. It's fairly good practice to come off of here. We then put a branch, so let's go ahead and do that. If it's not doing anything, we don't really want it to do anything. But because we're using messaging system, we actually really want it to do something, even if it hasn't hit anything. So what we're going to do is we're going to expand this down. We're going to look for the hit actor. We're going to come off of here and type in does implement interface. And the interface we're going to look for is our interact interface, one we made and set up a video or so ago. Here is where we're going to do our branch. Okay. Basically what this is doing is if it's hit something, it's going to say, does it have this interact interface? If yes, we're going to do something, and if no, we're going to do something. So first of all, we're going to do is promote this to a variable. We can leave it as hit actor, that's absolutely fine. Good enough name for it. We're going to connect that to true. If it's hit it, we want to set that hit actor to whatever we have hit that implements this interface. It's difficult sometimes to keep blueprints neat and tidy. Okay. We're going to duplicate this. And on false, we're going to set that to nothing, empty. We don't, we want to clear this out. Okay, we don't want it doing stuff that we don't need. From this target, we are going to type in display message, and we're going to look for the BPI interact display message here. And this is where you choose where you want to play it. I like it to be in the middle when we're interacting with stuff. And remember in the last video or the one before that, not sure now, we made a function library and we said give HUD class from our BFL global. We're going to use that now, because last video we made in our HUD, we move interactive text message. Okay. Make sure the display position is set to the same as here. So basically what this does is it sends out a trace from our camera. If it hits something, it checks does it have an the interact interface? If yes, it sets the actor, displays a message in the screen. What is the message you asked for? We'll get to that in a moment. If it doesn't, in other words, you're looking at in space or anything else other than anything that has the interact interface, it basically clears that hit actor so we can't be acted on, and it removes the message from the screen, ready for when you hit again. That's all we need to do in this function. We go to our event graph, and we are going to, on tick, we're going to run our tracer. I know people scream you shouldn't use tick, but it's a very low cost thing to do as a line trace. We're not doing any complicated maths. All we're doing is some quick checks and testing it, so it's perfectly fine to do that. Now this still won't work because we haven't told it what message yet. We told it, yes, display a message here, but we haven't told it what message to display. And we do that in our, we'll double check on this one. Is it the game items parent? Yes, it is. Okay. So we're going to go to our game, blueprints, parent blueprints, not our base actor, but our game items parent, which has our interact interface, and it has this display message. Double click on that, and this is where we are going to do both of them. So we double click on to do something as well. Okay. Let me just double check. Yeah. Just to do the display message first. Now again, remember, in our blueprint function library, we made that display message, and we look for the one that says display message on HUD. We made this here. We want to know what are we going to display. So first of all, let's see what we can fill in. Screen position, we can fill that in. Now we've got all of this. So I wanted a message so that when you, in this particular time, when you look at something, it will tell you to press a certain button to interact. So we're going to say, first, in our start text, in our style code, we're going to choose input. Remember, this is from our helps with our rich text box we did last time. Highlight the text. Well, we're going to use our interact key, so capital E. And we must remember to put our end code in. End text. What are we going to put on here? I'm dragging our item data. We're going to break it. You could split the pin like this and get all of this out here, but I prefer not to do it that way. I prefer just to break it this way, and it's a little bit neater. And from our data asset, you want to get our item message name. Okay. Let's move this back a little bit. And we're going to come out of here, and we're going to do something called an append. CPs might help. We're going to append. Append basically means it joins things up. We're going to add one more to that. And we're going to put in here to pick up This one we're just going to add a space, and then this one we're just going to join that, and let's just neaten this up a bit. Now another little tip, if you've got unhooked up pins, if you click on it, hide unconnected pins, it neatens that node up nicely. Keep to straighten it, let's move them around, make it look a little bit pretty. So now this is what in our tracer is calling display message from BPI Interact. Go to here, event display message from BPI Interact, so it's calling this. Okay, so that's that one done. Now we can add something to do something just for testing, but we will be adding more to it later. So let's just do that, just for giggles. Okay. So what we're going to do is yeah, I'll just give you an idea how this message system works. So what we're going to do is on the event do something. We're just going to display message on hard, same as we did before. We're going to get our item data, and this is also, we're going to break it. We're going to get here message text. I'm going to put that on here, and we're not going to bother with anything else on there because all we want. Not going to be too fussy with this. Like I say, we're going to be changing this when we get into the inventory component. So now we've added the message to the screen. We want to leave it there for a little while. So let's get our give HUD class. Then we want to remove message from screen. And this is just to remove message from screen, not the interactive one like we used in here. Just the remove message from screen. Got it positioned as top. Make sure that's top. Delay. Let's put 2 for 2-second delay. And then we're also going to destroy actor. So in other words, we're going to destroy this actor. Just so we've got an idea of something happening. Now, bar one small thing, this should be working. So let's go back to our player, to the event graph, type in IA underscore interact. Make sure you get the one with the little event there, not the value. We're going to go off as started, and I believe I've got this correct in my head. Yes. All we need to do is get a hit actor and do something. Message. Do it on started. Not triggered, so it only does it once. And that should be it. Let's give it a try. If I hit play, it seems a bit smoother this time. And where did I put my stuff? Okay, so down here we put a load of things, didn't we? Let's go to something big. So walk up here, we can see we've got our dot in the middle of the screen. So walk up here, put it in there, there we go. Pick E, and now E's highlighted. Press E to pick up first aid kit. If I press E, bosh, it's gone. You have picked up your first aid kit. Bosh. At the moment, we've got nowhere, it's just deleting them. In the next video, we will be starting on the simple inventory system. I'll be showing you different connections, but yeah. The only thing is here, it's saying first aid kit for that. I don't know why. Didn't like first aid kit for me. Is it doing it the same for that? Yes, it is. And yes, it is. So it's first aid kit there is correct, but first aid kit for here is not correct. So why is it doing that? Now that could be my problem. What if I pick it up? Let's see, does it? Yeah, it still says first aid kit. So we're not clearing the data. Give me a second, I'll have a quick look and then I'll get back to you. Okay, after a little bit of searching, I found out what the problem was. Back in our HUD class, in the last video, we handled what happened if the message was not valid, but we didn't handle what happens if it is valid, and this is where the problem was. So if it's valid, we go ahead and we connect it to the set text. We're getting a little bit rushed near the end of that video and I overlooked it. I do apologize. But let's quickly rectify that. Compile it. Let's hit play again, see what happens. Find our items. Okay. E, pick up a can of drink. You have picked up a can of drink in the top. Now E, pick up a donut, which is correct. You have picked up a donut. Seems to have solved the problem. Let's try it one more time. Pick up a first aid kit. You have picked up a first aid kit. Back to you have picked up a can of drink. Okay, so that seems to have solved that problem, and that's all I'm going to do for today. A little bit shorter than last time. Next episode, we will be starting on the inventory component itself. This could be over a few episodes, as there's quite a lot of complex functions in there. And I'll also show you why, you shouldn't use certain types of functions or make a function in a certain way. But after all said and done, if that's what you need in your game and that's all you need in your game, then the simple functions will work and they will work perfectly well. But there are downsides to them. So thank you again for watching. Please don't forget to like, subscribe and all that goodness. Support me on Patreon and or buy me a coffee if you feel you would like to. See you in the next one.